Hello there, my name is Hido and welcome back to the Pantheon. This is a re-record because I messed up the sound in the last one. So let's hope it doesn't happen again. But what have we got? We've got a lovely little moonfolk to deal with. It's Kotori, pilot Prodigy. 3 mana, 2/4 moonfolk pilot. The vehicles you control have crew too. So she can pilot anything she wants. From, you know, your noble chariot to massive mech. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target artifact creature you control gains lifelink and vigilance until end of turn. And that's not just your vehicles, that's any artifact creature, which is going to come up a bit in my top 5. This is a really cool card and, you know, works exceptionally well with vehicles, which is really good to see. Having a vehicle lord is really, really powerful, I think. And it builds, you know, a nice, interesting deck. So before we get into it, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is this. Please subscribe. I'm going to be making videos like this for every legendary creature. And this is just one of the precons, so we've got plenty to do. Now, without further ado, let's have a look at my top 5 for Katori. In at number 5, well, what do we have? We've got Felidar Retreat because of that crew 2 ability. We want to be making 2/2s or things that have 2 power as much as possible because they can crew anything. And Felidar's Retreat is one of the best ways of doing that. 4 mana, enchantment, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token. So there you go, there's your 2/2 that can crew. 2/2 crew. 2/2 crew. Or put a 1/1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance at end of turn. The really cool thing about vehicles is they're non-creatures until we crew them. So our tokens, they crew them, they become creatures. Then if we play a land, we can put counters on not only the creatures that have just crewed, also the vehicles. I mean, they're no longer 2/2, so the 2/2 crew. Anyway, the rhyme's ruined, but it's better for our game plan. Then we've got Gideon, Ally of Zendikar, 4 mana for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. And I think if we're going down the token route and also the vehicle route, we're going to have a lot of ways of protecting planeswalkers, lots of blockers. 4 mana, 4 loyalty, +1 until end of turn. Gideon, Ally of Zendikar becomes a 5/5 human soldier token. It's not a token, but the cool thing about this is if our commander dies, a lot of our vehicles have high crew costs, so at least Gideon can crew things because he becomes a 5/5. 0, make a 2/2, hey, crew 2. And then -4, you get an emblem of creature you control, get +1/+1. So really, really powerful. Helps build up that massive board state so you can swing in and kill everyone. Then there's Ugin the Ineffable. 6 mana, 4 loyalty planeswalker. Color spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. Guess what? A lot of vehicles are colorless, so it's going to reduce all of our colorless vehicles. +1, exile top card of your library face down. Look at it, create a 2/2 color spirit creature token. When that creature leaves the battlefield, put the exile card into your hand. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's all right. That's something that can crew and generate card advantage. Then we've got -3, destroy target permanent that's 1 or more colors. Excellent removal. You know, blue and white have very good removal, but that on a colors thing that helps with our artifact synergies is amazing. So then finally there's Jace, Cunning Castaway. 3 mana, 3 loyalty Jace. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to the player this turn, draw a card and discard a card. We're going to want to deal, you know, combat damage, in my opinion. It's what I'd want to do. So that's a good ability, gets to filter through the deck, draw into some better cards. -2, create a 2/2, hey, blue illusion creature token with when this creature becomes the target of a spell, sacrifice it. So we lose our token if they target it, who really cares? -5, create 2 tokens that are copies of Jace. Hey! And they're not legendary, so, you know, you go token mental. Token bonanza. Then there's the Poppet Stitcher for a slightly different take on this. If you want to go big into instant sorceries, which blue is rather good at, if you're going for a control style deck, 3 mana, 2/3 human wizard. Whenever you cast an instant sorcery spell, create a 2/2 black zombie creature token with Decayed. The Decayed means that when they attack, you sacrifice it. Who cares? Because we're going to be using this to crew our vehicles. Hey! And at the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more creature tokens, transform into Poppet Factory. Look at those little poppets. They're just popping out of everywhere. Creature tokens you control lose all abilities and have base power and toughness 3/3. So our 2/2s become 3/3s. Not the end of the world, you know. The rhyme is ruined, but we're more powerful in effect. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may transform Puppet Factory back in case you've lost all your creatures, and then you can switch back over to producing them. Really awesome card. Then there's Mutavault, which is an interesting one. It's a land that taps for a color, or a generic, I can't remember which. Pay 1, it becomes a 2/2 creature with all creature types at the end of turn. It's still on. So with vehicles, a lot of the time we're going to get board wipes. And we're going to lose all of our tokens. But if we have a land, we can animate the land, Mutavault here, tap to crew one of our big vehicles, and then swing in with a vehicle because it's going to be a non-creature thing when we get board wipes. So we can attack in. Really quite cool. And that brings me on to number 4. And at number 4, we've got the Colossal Plough. Now this is probably the best vehicle in this deck. 2 mana, so it comes out before our commander. 6/3. Whenever it attacks, add triple white and gain 3 life. Until end of turn, you don't lose this mana as steps and phases end. Ooh. So, turn 2 we play this, turn 3 our commander crews this, attacking, get 3 mana, we cast something else. Then the turn after that, we've probably got 7 mana from the Colossal Plough. And we're attacking for a 6/3 because our commander gives this crew 2. So our commander can crew it. Really, really powerful. It's a great use of a card. It's otherwise complete garbage. Then we've got the Colossal Dreadnought. And our Consulate Dreadnought, it's not Colossal. Although it is Colossal. 1 mana, 7/11. Crew, tap 6. Well, tap 2. 2 power, that is. And we've got a 7/11 that can swing in. Fantastic. And this you can get this from things like Trinket Mage that searches for a 1 CMC artifact. Well, they can get this. And then Trinket Mage is a 2/2. It can crew it. Oh, the synergies. Then another brand new card, Shorikai Genesis Engine. 4 mana, 8/8 with crew 8. Crew 2, you know what I mean. Vehicle, put 1 and tap. Draw 2 cards and discard a card. Create a 1/1 colors pilot creature with creature crew. This creature crews vehicles as though its power was 2 or greater. So they're 3/1s for crewing in essence. It's pretty cool. And it can be your commander. I don't care because we've got another commander. Then there's the Peace Walker Colossus. 3 mana, 6/6 with crew 2, sorry. Pay 2, another target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature until end of turn. So this is really good. As I spoke about before, board wipes happen in Commander, and the pay 2 just allows us to make something, maybe our commander costs too much mana to cast. At least we can make some vehicles and then swing in for damage, which is it's pretty good. Then I love this bit of ramp here, Cultivator's Caravan. 3 mana, 5/5. Tap to add 1 mana of any colour to your mana pool. Crew 3, crew 2. Oh, what a discount we're getting on that. But it's nice to have it. You need to play Mana Rocks, and this is wonderful. It's a big 5/5 beater if you don't need the mana. Finally, there's Dermo Taxi. It's not finally. There's one more. But Dermo Taxi, which is an interesting one. Don't use your commander's crew ability on this because it's a 0/0 as a baseline. 2 mana for a vehicle imprint. When it enters the battlefield, exile a creature card from your graveyard. Tap 2 untap creatures you control. Until end of turn, Dermo Taxi becomes a copy of the exiled card, except it's a vehicle in addition to its other types. So, if you use your commander's crew ability, it doesn't copy the imprinted ability. So it just becomes a 0/0 and dies. But this can be really good, can lead to maybe your opponent's got a Ginger Taxis in the graveyard. Well, I'll have a Ginger Taxis, thank you, and attack him for 5. That's the only reason you want Ginger Taxis. His abilities, garbage. Ignore the abilities. But this is a really cool card. And then we've got the Daredevil Dragster, a nice bit of card advantage. 3 mana, 4/4 vehicle. At the end of combat, if it attacked or blocked this combat, put a velocity counter on it. Then it has 2 or more velocity counters on it, sacrifice it, and draw 2 cards. Crew 2. So, oh wait, no, it's got crew 2 anyway. Our commander does nothing. But this is good for like generating a bit of card advantage. And if you're bringing back artifacts from the graveyard, maybe, this is good and, can generate lots of value. And that takes me on to number 3. At number 3, we've got Saram. And all these cards are around sort of vehicles. The Bugatti Veyron's in the centre here, and then these are all around it. So Saram Senior Edificer, 2 mana, 2/2, Dwarf Advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, hey, draw a card. So this is good card advantage. We want to be playing vehicles anyway because our commander crews them. What use is it having Lewis Hamilton without a car? We need the gasoline for the engine. I've run out of car-based sort of word plays here, so you've had them all. But this is really good, generating advantage from every single time we cast a vehicle. And that brings me onto a black screen, and then Deadeye Quartermaster. 4 mana, 2/2 human pirate. When it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment or vehicle card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your library. Tutors for anything that we want in the deck, which is incredibly powerful. Really, really nice to see. And it does exactly what we want in the deck. And it has 2 power, so it crews 2. So we've searched up our biggest threat, our most massive vehicle that has the most ridiculous crew cost. Let's play Copper Gnomes. 2 mana, 1/1 for an artifact creature. Pay 4, sacrifice it. Choose an artifact card in your hand and put that artifact into play. So cheat it in. Really, really cool. Yet it's a 1/1, so you can't crew something by itself. But if we've got something that costs a ridiculous amount of mana, maybe you've got Blightsteel in your hand. He's good at crewing things, isn't he? Crewing your opponent's poison life total into the ground. And this can just cheat it into play, and it's wonderful. Your opponents are going to be terrified of this. They're going to be like, oh my god, what's going to come out of it? And then you just put up a Mind Stone or something like that. But Armed and Armoured is a wonderful spell for all of our vehicles. 2 mana instant. Vehicles you control have vehicles you control become artifact creatures until end of turn. Choose a dwarf you control. Attach any number of equipment you control to it. So all of our vehicles become massive threats. And the cool thing is, if we're playing really token heavy, all of our tokens can also now attack because they're not crewing. So this leads to a massive alpha strike. Are we playing any dwarfs? No, but it's really good anyway. Then we've got Kuldotha Forgemaster, 5 mana, 3/5 construct. Tap, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card, put it onto the battlefield. So another great way of generating whatever we need for the battlefield. Maybe we need that massive 8 crew artifact thing. Well, this gets it straight to the field just by sacrificing a couple of little other things. Then there's the Arcanist Owl, which plays with this sort of artifact type. 4 mana for a 3/3, so it crews. Flying, when it enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an artifact or enchantment card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So excellent for generating a bit of advantage, getting an artifact, and it's an artifact itself, so we can sacrifice it to all these things. Finally, we got the Scarecrow, which doesn't actually work very well with vehicles. 1, because it's a 1/2, and its second ability doesn't get vehicles back. But I think it's worthy include because we're not just focusing on vehicles in this deck, or I think we shouldn't be anyway. That there are quite a few other artifact creatures. So, Scarecrow, 1 mana and sacrifice a Scarecrow, draw a card, so it can sacrifice itself to sort of filter through the deck, such like cycling really, isn't it? Pay 4 and tap, target artifact creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield, return it. So it just brings back whatever the biggest threat is that died, and well, we're going to have quite a few big threats. So a really nice reanimation spell there. Which takes me on to number 2. At number 2, we've got Lodestone Golem. Because we're playing so many artifacts, we want to take advantage of that fact. And playing Stax, while miserable, is an excellent way of doing it. And don't be ashamed of making other people miserable. It's Schadenfreude, isn't it? It feels good. So Lodestone Golem, 4 mana, 5/3. He crews. Non-artifact spells cast 1 more to cast, and all of our artifacts stay the same, but everything else is bumped up by that 1 mana. So if you hit this early, it's going to really cripple your opponent's game plan. Then, similarly, we want to take advantage of the amount of artifacts we've got. Mycosynth Golem, 11 mana, 4/5, affinity for artifacts. So the spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. We should have quite a few, like lots of vehicles knocking around. 4/5, he crews. And artifact creature spells you play also have affinity for artifacts. So all of our other artifact creatures are going to be a lot cheaper. This guy's quite expensive, sadly, but he's really cool. So, whether you want to play him or not, It's up to you. Then we've got the Ether Swarm Canonist. 2 mana, 2/2. Each player who has cast a non-artifact spell this turn can't cast additional non-artifact spells. So what that means is if you've cast an instant, you can't cast anything else. But if you cast an artifact, you can cast another. Well, go on then. Another artifact. We can chain artifacts together. And because we've built the deck to take advantage of that, we're going to really get ahead in that department. Then we've got Esper Sentinel, 1 white for a 1/1 human soldier. Whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, draw a card unless that player pays X, where X is Esper Sentinel's power. So he's a 1/1, not that good at crewing, but the amount of cards you're going to draw from this are amazing. And it's really just hurting your opponents. It's making them, have to pay additional mana. It's going to make them think about, oh, do I really want to cast this spell? And if the answer is yes, you get advantage. So excellent card. Then we've got Soul Scour. If we're playing a lot of artifact, well, this is the card for us. 10 mana, sorcery. Destroy all non-artifact permanents. Now, I don't know if you've had a look at basic lands or, pretty much all lands. They're not artifacts. This blows up all lands. Like I said, miserable, but it will win you the game because if you've got a couple of artifact lands or your artifact ramp, all of your artifact creatures, things like that, and we've got some token generators that can make tokens to crew our vehicles, this will just be a game-winning play. And the artwork's really nice. Look at him, he's just being absolutely obliterated. Then here are 2 sort of card advantage cards that are good little artifacts. Chrome Courier, 3 mana, 1/1 Thopter, flying. When it enters the battlefield, reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other into your graveyard. If you put an artifact card if you put an artifact card into your hand this way, you gain 3 life. Hey, just what you want. Nice 3 life. Although that could actually win you the game, so it's a nice bit of advantage. Then there's the Ether Swan Sphinx. 9 mana for a 4/4 Sphinx with affinity for artifact. So it's going to cost us 2 mana, isn't it? Flying and Cascade. So Cascade, you look at the cards at the top of your library until you hit a non-land card that costs 9 mana or less. No, 8 mana or less. It's got to be less. And then you cast it for free. So tons of advantage. And for potentially 2 mana, it's amazing. Which brings me on to my number 1 pick. And we've talked a lot about vehicles. And then let's have a look at a creature that can't crew vehicles, but I think works fantastically with our commander's second ability, the Vigilance and Lifelink. It is Stuffy Doll. 5 mana, 0/1. It doesn't crew. It's not a crewmate, but it is indestructible. And as it enters the battlefield, choose a player. So I'm going to choose John over there. Whenever Stuffy Doll is dealt damage, it deals that much damage to the chosen player. And you can tap it to deal 1 damage to itself. So this looks pretty terrible, doesn't it? But remember, we're playing a competitive multiplayer format. So I've picked John over there. Comes to my turn, I'll give Stuffy Doll Vigilance and Lifelink. Okay, Peter over here. Peter, I'll attack you with this. Do you want to block with that 30/30? He says yes. So I attack him with my Vigilance Lifelinker. 30 damage is dealt to Stuffy Doll, which means Stuffy Doll will deal 30 damage over here, which means I'll gain 30 life. And because it's got Vigilance, we also have it back on blocking. It's wonderful. It just works so well in the deck. I love it. It's just perfect for exactly what you want this commander to be doing, or at least part of it. So a really cool include there. Then another couple of artifact creatures here that I think work great in the deck. Mere Battlesphere, 7 mana, 4/7 Mere Construct. When it enters the battlefield, creates 4 1/1 colours Mere artifact creature tokens. So lots of little artifacts. Adds up to infinity, doesn't it? Infinity? Affinity? Affinity. Whenever it attacks, you may tap X, untap Meres you control. If you do, Mere Battlesphere gets +X/+O until end of turn and deals X damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. So we tap all the Meres. If you've given it Vigilance, it can tap itself, actually. There you go. So you can tap itself. That's cool. Vigilance, tap itself. So it gets +5, so it's a 9 power. It deals 9 damage to our opponent. We gain 9 life. Then it deals combat damage. We gain another 9 life. Hey, fantastic. Then there's Metalwork Colossus, and I've included this because when vehicles are not activated, when they're not crewed, they are non-creature artifacts. So it costs X less to cast, where X is the total converted mana cost of non-creature artifacts you control. And you can sacrifice 2 artifacts, return Metalwork Colossus from your graveyard to your hand. And it's a 10/10. So if we've not lost our commander, you know, our opponent stole it or something, this can crew anything. Anything and everything. I don't think they'll ever print anything that crew more than 10. So it's amazing. And finally, we've got the Bronze Guardian. 5 mana, star 5, double strike, so great with vigilance and lifelink. Ward 2, so it counters any spell or ability targeted unless our opponent plays 2. Other artifacts you control of Ward 2, so protects all of our vehicles and things like that. And its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. So potentially, it's massive. It could be a 10/5 double striking, life-linking, vigilance monstrosity. It's fantastic. So powerful. And those are my top 5 cards for this brand new commander. I'm going to crew... I don't know. I don't know. I told you I'd run out of jokes about cars and stuff like that. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you've enjoyed this, and I'll see you soon. Bye.